finally, let's talk about the logistics of applying to the CSU, getting yourself there, as well as paying for your education at the CSU. So to apply to the CSU, they actually will take upper division transfer students, which are students that have the 60 units or more. And some campuses will accept lower division transfer students. A lower division transfer student is somebody who does not have the 60 units. However, you had to have been admissible out of high school. So you had to finish the A through G requirements and whatever else the high school requirements are. So as a freshman, you had to be eligible. Not every campus accepts lower division transfer students, so you have to research that out to see who does. If you are a fall transfer student, you will apply between October 1st and November 30th, and the application does not open until October 1st. If you are looking to transfer mid-year in the spring, then it varies by campus if they're open. So what they do is they admit their fall class, they see who accepts their admissions, and then they decide from there if they have room for spring transfers or not. This year was quite good for students. Even San Diego State was accepting students, and they have not in all years past. So I think Cal Poly was the only one, Cal Poly San Luis was the only one not accepting. And then some schools did limit their major. So maybe they were open, but not for every single major. When you apply to calstate.edu/apply, and that's where you'll find the application. And we'll be going over the applications later on in this class. The applications the last few years, they have extended the deadlines. And so the priority deadline is November the 30th. However, you may see some schools that go through December 15th, January 15th, February 15th. However, if you have a campus whose deadline was November 30th, you can't go in and make changes to that application after it's been submitted. So it's one application for all 23 campuses. There's 4 modules, and the last module can be specific by campus where they ask you questions that they want to know. And so you couldn't change like a grade, for instance, because you've already submitted it on November 30th. The CSU does not require any essays. They do require some short answers if you apply to the EOP program at the CSU. So there are 7 questions that do require a short answer. Within the application itself, you're going to report all college classes you've ever taken, even those that you started taking while in high school. If you withdrew from a class, if you got a D or an F in a class, if the class was not transferable, whatever it is, it all goes into the application. And then just remember that some impacted schools or majors may have a supplemental application process. All right, so the cost of attending a CSU. They break it down by if you're living at home or you're living on or off campus. So between $18,000 and $30,000. If you go to Sonoma State and you don't change your living situation, obviously that's going to stay the same. It's going to remain what it has been, and you'll be used to those costs. What's going to change is your tuition fees. So where at SRJC you pay a per unit fee, within the CSU system you pay if you are part-time or if you are full-time. So if you are taking more than 6 units, then the tuition fee is $5,742 per academic year for students. So that means you could be in 6.5 units, you could be in 15 units. It's the same price. So remember, I changed my major when I was at Sac State. And when I did that, I then took more units per semester to get myself out faster, or at the same amount of time. I was still there for 2 years, but I was paying the same amount of money. So I might as well take more classes and not have to add on another semester. And I was able to handle that. I was working and going to school, but, I was able to handle that course load. You have to decide that for yourself. Then each campus has unique mandatory fees. So let's look at the fees by campus. So although the baseline is $5,742, if you look at what it costs with the various fees, no campus is at that amount. So you can see here what the full-time tuition and campus fees brings your rate to. And again, this is per year. So Cal Poly San Luis is the highest at $10,319. And Sonoma State is pretty high, $8,060. So things that are in here are things like health services, the rec facilities, materials, student success fee, the student center fee. That's the biggest, okay? Because a lot of these campuses have built these new rec centers. Sonoma State's rec center isn't new, but it's newer within the last 10 years maybe. So that fee is pretty high, $920. Let's see if anybody else is higher than that. Chico's at $910. Their rec center is really nice. Theirs is pretty new. So that just gives you an idea of what the yearly fees are. Okay. Get rid of this. There we go. Do I have one more screen? Oh yeah, take a tour. So it's really, really important that you visit the campuses that you're interested in attending. So take that road trip, set up a tour through the outreach office to really be able to experience what the campus is like. The tour guides are great. They have a lot to share. You get little tidbits about the college. You can ask if it's possible to sit in a class. You definitely would want to go and visit your majors, the department for your major, and see, what they could tell you. You can ask if there's any special events happening, before you go. And then I really highly recommend that you try to go during the week and not on a weekend, because you're really going to get a better feel for what the campus is like. You may get to the campus physically to the parking lot and have a feeling of this is not the right place for me. Totally normal. If you have traveled a far ways or your folks are with you, get out of the car and take the tour, okay? But it's interesting. You just get this feeling. I remember I went to San Francisco State and as an undergrad, and I just knew, this is not the right place for me. But for grad school, it was the perfect fit. So, yeah, it's interesting. So it's really, really important that you physically visit campuses. For your assignment this week, you'll start your virtual tours. And so this is a way to get a general idea of what the campus is like, but it's not the same thing as really visiting the campus. All right, so lots of information on the CSU. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out, but I look forward to reading your assignments and seeing what you learned.